All right. How's everyone doing today? Good. Did everyone get a raffle ticket? Who did not get one?
What are we going to win?
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. So I want to, number one, thank Diane for scheduling this event. You know, she's put in a lot of work, calling people back, making sure everyone's here, those who wanted to come, and we've been working on this together for the last couple of months, putting this together. And I've been putting this presentation together, my wife and I, over the last 4 to 5 weeks, just gathering different information. And last night, I was just telling Diane, and when she emailed me, oh, Dr. Tam, where to go? And I was still putting together the final touches. You know, for me, I want to make sure that I provide value everywhere that I go, to make sure I give you guys the best information possible. And now, who here, you know, today's talk is about nutrition, right? Who here can use better nutrition? All of us, okay? Who here has inflammation? Inflammation. Yeah, inflammation. How about arthritis? Right, right. See, nutrition affects everything, okay? That is a huge part of what we are. Did you guys know that your body, how it functions right now, is part of a reflection of all the foods that you've been eating in the last 9 to 12 months, especially, okay? It takes a lot of time for your body to rebuild itself. Now, a lot of you might not know, for example, the liver. Your liver replaces itself every 4 months, okay? Your stomach lining replaces itself every 5 days. Your red blood cells replaces itself every 4 months, all right? Every 7 years, you almost have a completely brand new body. Brand new. None of the cells in you is the same. See? So there are specialists out there that says if you change your lifestyle and completely change everything that you do for at least 7 years, your health will completely transform. Okay? And that's why nutrition is so important, is because we are literally what we eat. Are we okay with that so far? Yeah. Okay. So today, I'd like to give you a lot of information, and I like how a lot of you have pen, pads ready. My grandfather has always told me that a short pencil is always better than a long memory, okay? And he's like, write it down. I'm like, okay, you know? And, you know, I'm glad that you guys are writing it down because here's how the day's gonna go. Now, I was threatened earlier that I had to get out of here before the 49er game started. You know, so, right, I got some fans out here, you know. So I'll make sure we get through this, you know, before the game. But at the end, my presentation is going to be about, 45 minutes or so, maybe to an hour. And then afterwards, we'll have some Q&A. I'll quiz you a few questions, okay? Those who get it right will get a little bit extra raffle tickets. And we'll talk about the raffle tickets afterwards. I always want to make it fun, you know. I always believe that as long as we have fun, we can also learn. You know, students go to school sometimes and it's so boring, and they come back and, what did you learn today? I don't know, right? They didn't learn anything because it wasn't fun to begin with. It wasn't captivating, right? So how to eat to nourish your body and to optimize health, okay? Now, this was said by the Hippocrates, right? Not the hypocrite. Hypocrites, right? But who's ever heard of this? Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. Okay? Who's ever heard of it? Only a few. Only a few, yeah. Thousands of years ago, there wasn't medication, there wasn't, chemicals and everything that's placed in our body that's made to really just cover up symptoms. There was food. There was herbs, there were spices, right? You look back in history, that's what was used, okay? Well, then corporations came along and says, oh no, we can chemically, Western medicine and correct this and fix that. I'll tell you, medications are made not to correct the problem, They're made to cover up the symptoms. Pain management, diabetes management, right? They never say diabetes treatment, right? You know, in the Western history, Western medicine books, once you get diabetes, you got it for life. That's what they say. Oh, you got diabetes. Oh, that's it. It's over. That's not true. Okay? You correct what you eat, and over time, things can improve. But you've got to put the work into it, right? Now, no one wants diabetes. No one just says, oh, I'm okay with having diabetes. But the problem is, I don't think a lot of people have been told what to do, how to eat. There's so much information out there. Who's getting some information overload? Right? Yeah, there's so much information. You don't know what to listen to, who to listen to, what's right, what's wrong. Right?
I was diagnosed about 5 years ago with type 2 diabetes.
Right.
Went through all kinds of classes at Kaiser.
Right.
Including a week of nutrition classes.
Right.
I've never heard anyone say that the diabetes will go away.
Yeah. You guys know Dr. Oz? Dr. Oz takes his family to holistic and functional medicine doctor. He even came out and said 90% of type 2 diabetics are reversible.
How about the type 1 when they're born with it?
That's different. Yeah. That's different. Yeah, if you're born with it, that's genetics. Yeah. Okay, now you got to manage it. That's the true manage it, right? But with type 2, you got it somehow, right? Don't you think that if your body continues to heal, it can be reversed? It just makes sense.
It sounds
right.
Right.
Frightening fact to share. My husband died at 43 as a result of diabetes.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. You see, one of the biggest reasons, and we'll have a question answer afterwards, right? Because I want to get out of here before 49er game. No. Right. But the key thing of why I do this and why I'm here today is because we see so many people in our office day after day who have pain, arthritis, diabetes, who's suffering from delayed Alzheimer's, okay, cancer. It runs in my family too. That's a big reason, and it runs in a lot of people's family, you see. So as I go through the information today, take notes, write down questions. At the end, ask me about it. If I don't know about it, I'll get back to you, okay? All right? Are we okay with that? Yes. Every bite you take is either fighting a disease or feeding it. Do you agree? Yeah. It's either healing you or killing you. It's one or the other. Okay? There's not really one in between. All right? So we call the standard American diet, the rest of the world calls it SAD diet. Okay? Anyone's ever heard that before? No. It is talked about the whole nutritional realm. Our standard American diet is called the SAD diet because we have foods, okay, that don't have nutrition. There's calories, but not a lot of nutrition, okay? Lots of fast food out here, and there's fast for a reason. There's not a lot of nutrition in there. They can cook it so quick. Did you know that there are countries out there that McDonald's failed in because these third world countries, okay, if you look one up, one of them is Bolivia, McDonald's tried to go in, and for 10 years, they lost money every single year. And when they interview people there, the people were not very educated. They didn't understand nutrition. The one thing they knew was, when my mom cooked, it took her hours to make a meal. McDonald's is saying that they can crank out a nutritious meal that's going to be good for you in 2 minutes? No way. Okay? And McDonald's eventually left. All right? See. But overall, there's a lot of processed foods, food additives, right? They're long shelf. You pick up a bag of something, and sometimes it could last forever, right? Yeah. It's forever. You know, it's like 2 years, 3 years. Normal food does not last that long. You just go make your own experiment. You buy a regular tomato, genetically modified, looks bright red, beautiful leaves, off the vine, and then you buy an organic tomato from a farmer's market. You leave the same tomato on your tabletop and see how quickly the organic one starts to rotten. And how much longer that other tomato still sitting there, days, weeks later. No change. That's not natural. Food doesn't happen like that. 40, 50, 60 years ago, food did not last weeks and weeks and weeks if you just left it there. You know, you can't buy a banana and then for 3 weeks it's still green. Who's ever bought bananas like that? Okay, yeah, you know. Did you guys know that at the grocery store they have these chambers that they gas the bananas? Who's ever heard of that? You didn't know that? Oh, see? Learn something every day. Okay? You know where I learned it? In an Uber ride. Okay? I had no idea I was going to learn something like that from this gentleman that day. Okay? I was on my way to a seminar, and I said, what do you used to do? And he said, oh, I used to work for Lucky's. What did you do? He says, you know those bananas? I said, yeah. Well, they all come green. We put them in the gas chamber. We hook up these toxic gases to them. We turn it on. And then within 2 hours, they turn yellow.
Wow. That's true.
Right?
Toxic gas?
It's got to be. It's not nitrogen and oxygen. You're not going to breathe that gas. It forces it to turn yellow. Okay? What kind of gas will do that naturally? Right? That's what happens. We don't know that. And I asked him, I said, what about the smaller stores? He said, well, the smaller stores just buy from the big stores. He said, I used to be in produce. He said, I felt so sick of doing that. He said, I don't do that anymore. I just buy my food from farmers markets. You know? I was like, wow. Okay. Right? But these problems, these foods, additives, and everything, they contribute to cancer, obesity, inflammation, leaky gut. Who's ever heard of leaky gut? Yeah. Okay? Behavioral issues, and cardiovascular diseases. All right? All of it. Okay? What does our sad diet consume of? Dairy. Okay? Who drinks milk and eats cheese? It's okay. Raise your hand. Yeah. Well, a lot of you. Right? Who have been told they're good for your bones? All of us. Did you know that North America and Northern Europeans are the highest consumption of dairy products population in the world, except we have the highest rate of osteoporosis? The last 5 to 10 years, you look at the studies out there, milk is not good for you. Anyone who tells you, oh yeah, milk's great for you, they have not been updated in at least 10 years on their nutrition. Minimum. Okay? There's a lot of hormones in there, a lot of steroids in there. They found traces of drugs, vaccines, and antibiotics in there. And then we consume it, thinking it's good for our bones.
How about organic?
If you know exactly, not organic necessarily, if the cow who raised it, it better be like grass-fed, raw, raised, you know the farm, if you're going to consume that dairy, because there's a lot of casein in it too. But even if it's healthy, can you think of any other mammal in the world that consumes milk past toddler age? No, none. Milk, even in other mammals, are not for growing bigger bones. Milk, if you look at the study, is for increasing weight. Because babies, calves, baby bears, baby whales, they come out so small, right? They're afraid they will die. So nature made milk to help them gain weight. Not for bigger bones, okay? Just mass increase. That's it. It's for them to gain weight. And then in the 40s, because there's a lot of cows, well, cows make a lot of milk, right? So food industry says, well, how do we tell people that milk is good for them? Let's make some commercials about it. And then eventually, okay, for those of you who remember these skim milk commercials, right? It was big. skim milk was huge, 40s, 50s, 60s, okay? Well, they gotta skim it somewhere. Where does all the fat go? The fat gets stored in these big old warehouses. And the government and the food industry says, what in the world are we gonna do with all this fat? Let's promote cheese. And that's when the first cheese commercials came out. Cheese on macaroni, cheese on broccoli, cheese on everything, okay? And we were sold that to us, not knowing that it was bad for us to begin with, that it's not necessary. We think it builds bigger bones. The bioavailability of calcium in the dairy, it's not very absorbable. There's a lot in there, but we can't really absorb it because it's meant for baby cows. You have a better chance of eating a lot of green leafy dark vegetables and having calcium there and absorbing that calcium than dairy. When I first told that to one of our patients, they were like, what? Vegetables have calcium? Yes, it has calcium. I thought the calcium was in milk. Yeah, you were told that. And doctors were told that. You know, they were taught that. We have to look at sometimes where our Western medicine is getting their education from. They're getting their education by big food corporations and big pharmaceutical corporations because they donate to the schools. So they're going to teach what they, what they sell in general. So we have to be very, very proactive here in the US about learning these things. See, and it's got to make sense. And hopefully everything that I'm saying to you makes sense. And if it doesn't, let me know, okay? So that's the SAT diet, right? Then there is gluten. Who's ever heard of gluten before? Yeah, gluten is in everything now, all right? And the amount of gluten, the genetically modified gluten that we have today is different than how bread was made hundreds of years ago. It's different than how some of the breads are made in Europe. We have patients who are gluten intolerant. There's a lot of people out there who are gluten intolerant and you just don't even know it, where when you eat it, you get tired or fatigued or you can't think right afterwards. You ever heard of food coma? Uh-huh. Why do we get food coma? It's not because you ate a lot. It has nothing to do because you ate a lot. It's because what you ate caused you a delayed allergic reaction that your body had to fight, so your body shuts down. So it's like, oh, let me go to sleep. Who feels better after a while? After you sleep, you take a nap, you feel a little bit better. Why? Because your body was fighting what you just put in it 2 hours ago. It's not because you ate too much. It's because you ate the wrong stuff. Okay? And gluten will do that. Gluten has been known to eat away your stomach lining and your colon lining and cause leaky gut. But what a lot of us don't understand is what is leaky gut. See, our gut is a colon that has a lot of lining. Think of our walls and barriers, okay? Let's just say if we have bad guys out there and these walls protect us. When you eat gluten, gluten from the inside is going to eat away your walls and allow the bad stuff to come in. And then it will cause inflammation in your body. And when you start getting it, initially, your body's going to feel tired, fatigue, okay? And then eventually you might be forgetful, body fat fatigue, all right? But eventually, if you sustain that every single day long enough, that inflammation will start to attack other organs in the body. It starts showing up in the skin. It starts showing up in the hair and nails. Okay? It starts attacking the lungs, the heart. Inflammation. What is inflammation? That's what inflammation is. Inflammation starts in the gut. All right? Okay? And then it proliferates to the rest of the body. Anyone's ever heard of leaky brain? No, that's a newer term within the last 5 years. Leaky gut, these toxins flow into the body and its body's bloodstream that now attacks the blood-brain barrier, okay? And now allows toxins to get into the brain. And these toxins starts deposited into the brains and cause brain problems. More forgetfulness, Alzheimer's, dementia, okay? Yeah, leaky brain, okay? That's a newer term. I want to bring that to your attention, see? A lot of the information that I'm giving you is I want you to take the information and just ask questions and start researching and being more proactive, right? I could talk a whole hour on leaky gut and leaky brain, but I'm going to expose you to it first, and you will look it up. Is that okay? Yes. All right? So that's gluten. But what's in gluten? The wheat, the rye, the bread, the donuts, the bagels, the pastas, that's all has gluten. Okay? And you have to watch out a lot of these things that if you have to eat it, I say you eat gluten-free. But the problem is with gluten-free, you have to look at what they substitute it with, because the food companies are getting very smart right now. People want gluten-free. They put chocolate gluten-free. What does chocolate have to do with gluten? Okay? Oh, it's gluten-free chocolate. Bacon, it's gluten-free. People just love the word gluten-free so much that they think that you'll just buy it because they did the studies. They did the studies where when they put labels like gluten-free, more people end up buying the same product, but the one says gluten-free, let me just buy that one. It's a sales thing. It's a marketing thing. All right? Meat doesn't have gluten, but they put gluten-free on there, okay? All right? But these are the things you got to watch out for. They put preservatives in these gluten-free, and a lot of them are corn, soy, all right? Sugar products. They got to mix something in there. That sometimes can be even worse for you, or just as bad. Okay? So be very careful. Then there's the oils. High in unhealthy inflammatory fats. Vegetable oil, hydrogenated oil. Hydrogenated, look in your food package, and we all are gonna find some in your cabinet. Look for the word hydrogenated. Anything hydrogenated, just toss it right now. Hydrogenated, that means it's like very processed, okay? Hydrogenated oil. They added an extra hydrogen in there, okay? And that's toxic to the body, right? But these soy oil, canola, vegetable oil, peanut oil, that's what they do with fried and processed foods. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest. Sometimes when I go out and eat, I'll have like sweet potato fries and calamari and things like that. And by doing this presentation and reading all the different articles, I made a decision that this year, outside of my house, because I don't know how it's made, I'm not having anything fried. Nothing. Chips, fried anything, battered anything, I'm not touching it. Because I had to read a lot of review articles for me to put all this together. Because everything I want to share with you, it is peer reviewed. You can find it out there. And I made that decision myself to not have it. I'll have it used to have it once in a while. But with my family history, my father, lymphoma at the age of 52. My grandmother was diagnosed with diabetes, who eventually ended up with neuropathy and Alzheimer's for the last 10 to 15 years of her life. I said, I can't do that, you know? I'm already genetically predisposed to it, you see? Yeah.
So the olive oil is okay?
Olive oil is okay. Olive oil is good, avocado oil is good, coconut oil is good, right? Okay? MCT oil is a form of coconut oil. MCT is a medium chain triglyceride. If you eat MCT oil, which is a form of coconut oil, is MCT oil, that oil does not cause you to gain weight. MCT. But if you do too much at the beginning, your stomach might feel very bloated because your body's not used to processing the MCT. Absolutely. Okay? So the 4 things that you have to do, that I'm going to say you must do today. Number 1, you cut out dairy, you cut out the gluten, you cut out processed carbs and sugars, and you cut out bad oils. You do these 4 things, and your blood work, your health is absolutely going to change. There's just no doubt about it, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. You do it for 3 months. it will change. You do it for 6 months, your skin will start changing. Okay? You're gonna look healthier. You're gonna be healthier from the inside out. See, your skin is a reflection of what you are on the inside. Okay? It is. All right? So, food then and now, right? Back then, animals are raised outdoors, right? Grass, sunshine. You have local butchers, okay? There wasn't any synthetic hormones, antibiotics, and GMOs. They didn't even know what it was. The farmers didn't know what it was. But it cost more money to do. So when the food industry came and kicked a lot of the farmers out, well, they got to make it cheap. So now you have facilities, okay? They don't see sunlight. There's no fresh air, okay? 10 billion animals raised in factories where they almost never see. 10 billion. They never see sunlight, okay? Overcrowded, unsanitary. Do you know that we were talking about cows, that we get the beef, the GMO'd one? They lock them into these gates. Well, the cow has to pee and poop, right? So they pee and poop right there. So now they get sick. When they get sick, they do rounds of antibiotics and vaccines and pump them. And then they pump them with steroids so that these mommy cows keep producing milk because they think that they just had a baby all the time of their hormones. See? And yet, these cows are sick. They have diabetes. They have heart disease. They have high cholesterol. You think it's just humans that have high cholesterol and diabetes? No, they do too. And then we go and eat them. What do you think we're going to end up with? These same problems they have. Okay? They're toxic meat. So we eat them thinking it's going to look great. Oh, it's nice and red, it's fresh and all that. But yet we don't know what they went through. See, if you saw what they actually injected your meat while they were alive, you probably wouldn't eat it. But we don't think about that. We don't think like that, right? We go to a store, it looks great, nice packaging, saran wrapped, right? And we think it's okay. See, not knowing the backstory, yeah, most people would think it's okay. I thought it was okay. You see, I didn't know this growing up. My parents didn't know this growing up. When my family came from Hong Kong, it was just like, whoa, an abundance of meat. Right? They didn't have that growing up as kids in China. Right? Natural meat costs a lot of money. Well, GMO meat, whoa, it's everything. You know, the bigger the chicken, the better. The bigger the drumstick, we want the biggest one, you know? But for the last 20 years, since 2000, when I started going to school in UC Davis, my background is in nutrition, exercise biology. So I look at how the body works. I study the nutrition behind it. And then from then on, that's, all the studies and everything. I got to where I'm at today, right? But these are things that most people don't know if you don't watch a Netflix video or, read an article about it, right? Fruits and vegetables. Organic farming was normal. What was not organic? No one's ever heard of GMO 40, 50, 60 years ago. It was all organic, right? But they started producing foods very cheap that grow really fast, right? Some of those fields out there, before they became homes over on the other side of Leisure Town, they used to grow corn out there, right? You drive up, and it's like 1 week, the corn's not there. 2-3 weeks later, whoa, they're like 6-7 feet tall. Okay, natural corn does not grow like that. Does not grow like that. Okay? But that's what happens. See, people ate what was grown nearby, fresh and in season. In season. Now we could get any foods anywhere. Okay? If you eat the food that is naturally in season, you'll be better. See, why did human beings, talk about diabetes that we talked about earlier. Fruits. Fruits we were only able to consume thousands of years ago when it was in season. You didn't have fruit readily available all the time, right? When it went like summertime, springtime, when it bloomed, when it was in season, that fruit, that's when you had to eat it. But once you ate it and it was gone, it was gone. You had like 2 trees for the whole community. And that was it. But now it's just, whoa, everything. You go to a store and you can get anything, you know? And then we're told that sometimes dry fruit, what most people don't realize, if you get it in like the trail mix and part of the mix, it's actually way worse for you than real fruit. Yeah, some of your jaws are starting to drop. Because dry fruit, what they did is they just dehydrated it. It doesn't fulfill you. There's some fiber, not a lot of water, but it's concentrated sugar. It's so sweet, okay? You eat a cherry and you take the same amount of cherries, of dry cherries you put in you, it's a lot worse. Your sugars will spike so much quicker because there was nothing to even buffer the sugar. Okay, it's straight sugar. That's what dry fruit is, right? Okay, so for all of you who think dry fruit, trail mix, dry fruit, and nuts are good, eat the nuts, but not the dry fruit. Okay, pick off the dry fruit, please. All right? Because fruits and vegetables now, they rely on chemicals. When they spray our vegetables, they have to wear hazmat suits. That's what they wear on these farms now. They walk down the aisle, they're wearing these gas masks, hazmat suits. Why? They know they don't want to have anything to do with this. But then you have the people that we go and buy the vegetables, right? It kills the bugs, right? These things, the pesticides, kills the bugs. Oh, it's nice and leafy and green. Oh, we want to buy it. It's beautiful. Okay, and get to charge more for it for some toxic vegetables. You know what? These things actually kill more is the communities around them. You live near like farms or you get well water from like farms. They spray all this stuff. It gets in all their well water and it leaches in there. And a lot of people that live by farms, okay, animal farms or vegetable farms, they end up getting early cancer, lots of them, okay, because it leaches into the water. But they'll tell you, it's safe. Oh, no, we tested water, it's safe. Don't believe that. It just doesn't make sense, right? Okay? Then there's processed foods, right? Back then, food was made from scratch. You had ingredients that you know what it is. When you go out and buy food, if it's in a box, it's in a can, the less the ingredients, the better. Less is more, I tell you that right now. Because the more ingredients, and especially if you don't know what the ingredient is, that means it's an additive, it's something that's not right for human consumption. You have to know what it is. Less is more, okay? That's like my number one rule for when you look at box foods and, jars of oils. What's in here? Oh, this one has like 4 ingredients. This one has 2. If you don't even know what it is, I'm going to pick the one with 2. Don't pick the one with 4, all right? Even if you didn't know what it was, pick the one with less ingredients, okay? Because now processed foods, it's developed due to convenience. It's time, okay? It's a time and money thing, right? As long as it fills you up, we're good as a society. 80% of processed foods, okay, are GMO ingredients. Artificial flavor, chemical preservatives, natural flavoring, unrecognizable ingredients. As simple as just look at a popsicle. The healthy ones will have 2 or 3 ingredients. One from, like Dryers or Breyers, they'll have a lot more ingredients, except you have no idea what it is. But it tastes good though. It fed the brain, and your brain, the neurons in the brain says, ooh, those are good, okay? The original food pyramid, we were all taught this as kids. Eat a lot more bread, vegetables next, meat, and then the fats up top. Why was this developed? Who do you think, who can give me an idea why this was developed? This was developed when we didn't have a lot of food, okay? When the countries were poor. when we were going through the war. So what filled you up the most? This. Okay? There wasn't a lot of meat and good fats out there. So they were like, well, we can't tell people to eat the stuff that we don't have a lot of. Let's tell them to eat things that's going to fill them up. And then it was put in the books. And then it was taught for generations. And it's still being taught today. Because sometimes it's hard to change something that's been ingrained for so long. For something that we believe in so long and so strongly about, and no one likes change, right? Until the change is compelling enough for us to make a change. Who thinks it's hard to make a change in life? Change of lifestyle. It's hard, okay? It's hard for me to tell my mom not to eat rice. I'm Chinese. She's like, what? No, rice. I grew up on rice, right? Except you got a lot of people in Asia now developing diabetes. See, rice, grains, it used to be the main thing because there wasn't enough food, and it was the easiest of calories for you to go out and work in labor-intensive environments. But now that we don't necessarily all work in labor-intensive environments, and we have a full nourishment of all kinds of amazing foods, simple carbs is no longer as good for us, you see. Whereas the ideal food pyramid should be this. Non-starchy vegetable plant foods on the bottom, then you have meats, and then some starchy fruits, veggies, and then some beans or legumes, gluten-free grains, some spices, herbs, and then recreational treats way up top, way up there, okay? See, some people think this is an upside-down food pyramid, right?
Isn't it the new pyramid that the government introduced a couple of years ago?
They're trying, but there's a lot of problems with that one still. Because in general, when a new study comes out, and if the government or hospitals were to adopt, do you know how many years it takes for them to adopt it? 17 and a half years. Mm-hmm. And this came from the inside of an FDA specialist that told us this at one of the seminars that I went to. See, I go to a lot of seminars. As a doctor, I'm only required to go to 24. I go to a minimum of 100 a year. Not because I need to, but because I need to know that I am staying on top of everything that I know of what I'm doing, so that when I teach our patients and clients, I'm giving you the latest stuff, not some old things that was taught 10, 15, 20 years ago, you see. So nutritional needs of all of us aging adults is the same as regular adults, okay? You need some protein. You need the good protein, right? Why? Because it helps with muscle mass, okay? You need to limit your sugars. Plenty of vegetables, all right? Some fruit for vitamins and minerals. You don't need a lot of fruit, okay? Fruit has too much sugar. It's the hidden sugars in fruits that we're not aware of, all right? I've had people who have diabetes and heart disease that says, Dr. Tam, my doctor told me it was okay to eat 2 apples and an orange and some mangoes every single day. They said fruits were okay. I said, really? How has your heart disease and diabetes been the last 5 years? It's gotten worse. Oh, that's because they didn't tell you that these hidden sugars are sometimes the worst ones. Sugars is sugars, okay? I don't care if it came organically, it's a sugar, right? Processed sugar. One sugar is better than the other sugar, but in general, if you have an inflammatory disease like diabetes that is caused by too much sugar uptake, your body's going to treat sugar like a sugar, okay? I don't care if it's Vacaville organic sugar that you put in or like the best honey that you put in. It's sugar. You got to limit that because sugar causes inflammation of your blood vessels, okay? See, you got to have healthy proteins. You have to have healthy fats. Fats is so important. We think, oh, fats is bad. We've been told many years, fats is bad. It's going to clog up your arteries. It causes high cholesterol. Fats do not cause high cholesterol. It's not the fats that's causing high cholesterol. High cholesterol and inflammation of the arteries, the atherosclerosis, comes from when you consume too much sugar, and the sugar deteriorates the inner lining of your blood vessels. And now the blood vessels get leaky toxins in there, and it builds up a scar in there. And then fat deposits starts going into those areas because it becomes sticky. That's how you get atherosclerosis and high cholesterol. See, if it was fats, then everybody in Alaska and the Eskimos, all they eat is seal fat, whale fat. They'll all have high cholesterol and diabetes and heart disease. Except for the last 20 years, they're one of the races that has one of the lowest heart disease, cholesterol, and diabetes. Okay?
But you don't see meat in the meat stand measured healthy fats, okay? So how do you
know? I'm going to get to that. Oh yeah. How do you know? Oh, he's just giving us all the what not to eat. What about what to eat, right? I'll get to that. Thank you. Absolutely. Okay? Fats versus sugars. High carbohydrate intake. Increase risk of death. These studies didn't say increase just heart attack. It says increased risk of death. Higher fat intake lowers the risk of death. Fat intake not associated with heart disease or heart attacks. We kind of cover that. High intake of refined sugars leads to weight gain. I'll tell you another thing why it's not up here. About fats. So there's a cell. Every one of us have trillions of cells, right? Who have ever heard of the term phospholipid bilayer? No? Oh, yeah. I'm going to introduce you to that term. That's a scientific term for cell wall. Okay? Our cell wall. Our cell wall is a layer of fat. Okay? Around every single cell is a layer of fat. So when a lot of people 20 years ago went on low-fat diets, it caused a lot of problems. Okay? Autoimmune problems, heart problems. The brain is one of the fattiest parts of the body. Okay? Like you take a live brain, you can almost scoop it like butter. That's what the brain is like. It's not hard and, that's like a formaldehyde brain that you see at labs. A fresh brain, it's fatty, very, very fatty. So every cell has a layer of fat surrounding it. And when you eat bad fats versus the good ones, you end up deteriorating your cell wall, and your cells starts to die early, malfunction, okay? Cause a lot of problems, wouldn't you think? Big time, okay? So, what should we eat? Okay, finally, he's telling us the good stuff. What should we eat? In a nutshell, you have to eat whole foods. Stop at Whole Foods necessarily. I want to make sure that there's a difference. But real high quality foods, right? Vegetables and fruits has to be organic. Well, Dr. Tam, how do I know what's in season? Go to the farmer's market, okay, once in a while, and look at their fruits and vegetables. And the organic ones, those are in season. Because the farmers markets and the co-ops, they get their foods and vegetables in season ones from nearby farms. Even though it's organic, your grocery store can ship them from other parts of the world. Okay? Now, Davis, every Saturday morning, right about now, has a farmers market. Sunday morning, underneath the bridge of where I-5 crosses Sacramento, there's another farmer's market, okay? If you just look up farmers markets in our area, you'll see it. Vallejo has one, Walnut Creek has one, okay? Vacaville, when it's in season, has one, all right? When it's meats, it has to be grass-fed, pasture-raised, or like a wild game. Beef, for example, okay? It's gotta be grass-fed. But here's the kicker. This is what large food companies have done in the last few years. They look at grass-fed when everyone is buying grass-fed. Ooh, we're gonna put the label grass-fed. And then what happens is, the last few months of that cow's life, they pump them with corn and soy to fatten them up so they can sell them for more. But it's still grass-fed. So here's what you have to look for. 100% grass-fed. It will say 100% because people who grass-feed them 100% of the time, they will tell you it's 100%. When you just see normal grass-fed, does not mean 100%, okay? So there's a trick right there that they're doing.
That's so wrong.
That is so wrong, right? I didn't know that until I visited 2 years ago at a farmer's market. I walk around and I'm looking, right? And I started noticing grass-fed. Then I was at another tent and it says 100% grass-fed. I was like, what in the world's happening? And I started walking around. And there were vendors that'll say grass-fed, and then there are ones that say 100% grass-fed. And there's this one egg vendor that I buy from that he puts his 100% grass-fed. I've been buying eggs from him for a long time in Davis, okay? If you want to know the name is Pasture 42. Pasture 42, they're out past Cache Creek. They have some of the best eggs, nutritious. They're like so red and orange, okay? And I know they have the best eggs because I've bought eggs from almost all the vendors out there. But then I talked to Pasture 42 and I realized how they farm the eggs, how their chickens, they rotate their grounds. And I mean, the way they do it, it's like the old days. Pasture 42, if you go to Davis. But I asked them. The chickens, yeah. Yep. Everything from their farm, I mean, it's like top notch. So I asked him, I said, hey, what's the difference between your 100% grass-fed and those other guys? And then he told me. I said, oh my gosh, no one knows this. I, being a health specialist, going to seminars, talk about this, and I didn't know this 2 years ago. Once I knew about it, I did a video on it, wrote an article, and blasted out to all our patients. I mean, I said that was like a big thing for me, you know, mind blown, right? Avoid very limited, high quality dairy, okay? So even though it's high quality, the best, you gotta avoid the dairy. But if you have to have butter, if you have to have it, it's gotta be that grass-fed butter, okay? Or it's gotta be ghee.
Clarify, what is it?
Purified, ghee, G-H-E-E. From ghee from grass-fed cows.
They sell it at Nugget.
They do? They do. Sprouts have it, but you gotta make sure you can't just look for ghee. You gotta look for the ones that are grass-fed. 100%. Yeah. So there's so many things. Then the other day, this was maybe, not the other day, it's a long time ago now, about a year ago. I want to tell you this. I didn't put this up here. So when you look at pasture-raised chickens, right? Oh, pasture-raised means, oh, they're free roam. Then I was looking at the eggs. I'm there just looking, and I saw one of them. I said, you know, when we think normally, the higher the price, the better, right, in general, okay? Oh yeah, it must be of higher quality. And this one was pasture-raised, 100% vegetarian fed. What? Wait, pasture fed, pasture raised, but 100% vegetarian fed. That means they're in the pasture, but they just throw corn at them or soy at them. That's what that means. But they got the label, it's pasture raised, it's not caged. Pasture raised means they're eating outside, that's all, okay? Free range, pasture raised, 100% vegetable fed, okay? I said, what does that even mean? I started doing my research, and then I came to that conclusion. Oh, they just let them free roam, they just throw corn at them. Wow, wow.
So the free range means they're just out there,
They're out there.
but they can throw food at them.
They can throw food at them, right? So you got to be careful with these verbiage. You know, what are they fed, right? And some of the really good ones will label now, like 1 chicken per square feet. You'll see them, like per 8 square feet. So they're not, loading them, like putting 100 chickens in that one corner right there. They'll put that in there. Some people, some of the companies will take that extra mile and put that out there to make sure that that detail, into that detail. I can see that and be like, oh, wow, that's wonderful. You see?
Which egg do you eat?
What's that?
Which egg do you eat? I'm confused. Cage-free or?
So it's got to be cage-free,
Cage-free.
pasture raised,
Okay.
Yeah. But then I usually get them from the farmer's market. When I get an egg, it's either from one of our patients, okay, which I know she does great, or from Pasture 42 over there. But I just want you guys to know that when you go to the store, you got to be aware of these things.
Do they sell pasture?
The Pasture 42 in the stores, I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen it. You either have to go directly to their farm out there or at the farmer's market. Yeah. Oh, here's the other thing about farmer's markets that I didn't know. Did you know that the same vendor will charge you, maybe you guys know, will charge you differently at different farmer's markets?
Yeah.
Well, you do. I didn't know that. I saw the same vendor in Sacramento, Davis, and Marin. Oh, it got more expensive as you went towards the water. The eggs got more expensive, the chicken per pound got more expensive, their meat and fish got more expensive. I said, what in the world? Like I didn't know that until my wife knew that. She didn't really, she wouldn't just randomly tell me this, right? But I didn't know that until one day we were at the Davis Farmers Market and we had to go to Marin for something. She said, oh, I'm gonna drop by the farmer's market. And I remember numbers, okay? And I said, wait, wasn't this $5.99 a pound yesterday? Oh yeah, but here they sell it for $7.99 a pound. Whoa, it's a big difference. It's not like 20 cents. It's like dollars per pound difference. Holy moly, I just thought I want to share that, okay? So these are mind-blown things. You see how I get excited about it sometimes? I get carried away. But then there's the healthy fats, okay? Where do you get healthy fats, all right? How many people like bacon? Oh, yeah, bacon. Do we think bacon's good for you or bad for you?
It's good in everything.
It's good on everything. Tastes good on everything.
Tastes good.
Tastes good on everything. Bacon is not necessarily bad for you. It's how they preserve the bacon and the nitrates and salts that they put in there that makes it bad for you. If you can buy bacon at a farmer's market where these pigs have been free range and everything and not eating just whatever is, dying out there, it's not bad for you. Bacon itself, that fat, a lot of top chefs in the world save that fat and cook with it. See, it's the good fat. It's actually a good fat for you. Well, it can't be consumed in mass amounts, right? But most people think it's bad. It's not the bacon that's bad, it's how the pig was raised that was bad, and how it was preserved that it was bad. But you get that fresh bacon, my gosh, it tastes completely different. Completely different. Okay? Yes?
It's just in our culture that we are taught that pigs eat slop.
Right. And most pigs do.
And so where do you find the ones that don't?
You got to talk to the farmers. You got to talk to the people who farm them. You got to talk to them. and ask them. And they'll say, some of the labels will say, you know, this is what our pigs eat. You know, they'll say that. They don't eat like junk, right? They'll say, oh, they're fed. At least if they're vegetarian fed, it's better than other stuff. You know, some of them will say non-genetically modified organic feed only. They'll say that. Okay, that's where their bacon's from. The farmers who care about their food will put that label on there. Okay, but if you were to go to the store and you just buy them, at least get them from the butcher area, you know, where they cut the meat, right? They put it there, so it's fresh, not the packaged ones. Okay, so you do that, all right? Now, other high quality fats. Avocado is a high quality fat. Oils that you use, coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, these are all good fats, you see? And where else do you get good fats? High quality meats.
Avocado?
Avocado is great.
Fish?
Yeah. Fish. Fish. You better eat wild caught. Wild caught. You do not eat wild caught, and all the mercury in the fish and the toxins from the farms and everything will go, and if you have a leaky brain, it's going to go to your brain and advance.
Go back to the fats, grapeseed
Yes.
oil, is that good or bad?
Grapeseed oil depends on how they make it. Yeah. In general, it's not too bad, but it's not one of the best.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes.
On the oils, we primarily cook with olive oil.
Yes.
Coconut oil.
Yes.
But when I'm making a stir fry, I use peanut oil because it cooks better in high heat.
Yeah. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. If you're going to cook high heat, use refined coconut oil, because those can be high heat. Yeah, but don't use that peanut oil. That peanut oil, peanuts in general, is considered a mold. A mold? Yeah, peanuts on the ground. Yeah. If you like peanut butter, I'll tell you this. They take the worst peanuts and ground them up into peanut butter. They're a mold. Molds can increase allergens, cause skin problems, okay? Body fat, fatigue, all right? Molds are very, very, I mean, yeah. You see people that get stuck in a home that has mold. You eat peanut butter for a long time, your body will get moldy. Toxic mold.
Talking about the organic peanut butters where the oil comes to the top and you have to stir it, or
Either one. The peanut in general is not the best food for you.
so that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
My son, when he was young, had canker sores in his mouth.
Yeah, some
and,
people
turned out to be from peanuts.
from the peanuts.
So there's no good peanuts.
No, stay away. If you're gonna have to eat it, don't eat it.
Well, if you just, you know, you can go to Winco and
No, you ground those up. No.
We need some more things we can eat.
Almonds. Almond butter. Okay? Almond butter is better for you, but not everyone can consume almond butter and have a good, healthy stomach, because almonds have certain proteins that are hard to digest by your gut. So, what's the best one? The best one so far is sunflower butter. It's the seed butters. The seed butters. The seed butters are easier to digest. Sunflower is one of the best ones. Okay? So, you cook.
the oil as well?
What's that?
Is that true of
No. No. Yes. Thank you for asking that. Sunflower oil is not very good, but when they make it into the butter is one of the best butters. There's a process that happens when they refine it into the oil that's not good. The butter is different from the oil, completely different. Okay? It's because of the way it's processed.
What about sesame oil?
Sesame oil, it's kind of in the middle. Yeah.
What about cashew butter?
Cashew butter is okay, but once again, the nuts are not as good as the seeds.
Okay.
You see, that's why the sunflower seeds oil butter is better.
I like nuts in general, especially for snacks.
What are the best nuts, right? Yes. So the best nuts Why do we eat nuts? Nuts have a lot of good fats in them. You're not eating it for the protein, okay? You're eating it for the social and good fats. Some of the best fats, fattier nuts, good for the brain, pecans, walnuts, macadamia nuts. Some of the best, okay? So, yeah, nut-wise, high fats. Those are the good ones, all right? So, you have to very, 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 very limit and avoid gluten and legumes. Okay? Legumes is one of them.
I am shocked. Me too.
What's
I
that?
thought that was good for you, beans and things.
The beans used to be, many years ago, good. Recent studies have found that the more recent beans that have been grown will cause gut problems and leaky gut. Yeah, yeah. Who eats beans and gets very gassy? Oh gosh. Why do you get gassy? It's because the bacteria in your gut feeds off the beans and produces gas. See, it all has to do with the bacteria in the gut, right? 3 things that we should all take that if you have gut issues, all right, depending on what it is. A supplement, okay? Number 1, if you cannot digest food well, here's how you know. When you eat food, you get bloated above the belly button, all right? On the left-hand side, that's the gut bloating. You take a digestive enzyme. A digestive enzyme. Supplements got to be another class, Diane. That's a whole nother class on supplements. But I just want to mention that. Digestive enzyme. Okay? All right? If you eat food and you get really bloated right here, all right? If you get really gassy, you have a problem digesting, you feel sick, or your bowel movements are just not good, okay? You take prebiotic and probiotics. Who knows what the difference between a prebiotic and a probiotic is? Not a lot of people, okay? We've heard those terms, right? Probiotic is what mimics the bacteria in the gut. But you got to be real careful on which ones you take. Okay? There's only 2 brands I trust. Prothera or Clear Labs. Okay? That's
What is it called?
Prothera Clear Labs. Clear Labs. K-L-A-I-R-E. Clear Labs. Prothera. P-R-O-T-H-E-R-A. And Clear Labs. They're the same place. Oh, 3, actually 3. The second one is Designs for Health, which I'm actually working with Designs for Health to work in kind of come up with our own form of supplements. And the last one is Megaspore Biotics. M-E-G-A, Spore, S-P-O-R-E, Biotics, B-I-O-T, T-I-C, right? Spelling, you can tell, is not my strong suit. But a probiotic is mimicking your gut biome, which is very important if you have gut issues. IBS, Crohn's, diarrhea, constipation. After a bout of antibiotics, you better load up on probiotics for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Probiotics mimics your gut. Prebiotics feeds the probiotics and keeps them alive. So if you take probiotics that don't have any prebiotics, you're just feeding the bacteria and boom, the bacteria dies. Because you're not feeding it.
Can I show you something?
Yes.
A family member of mine stayed with me, and that's what she uses.
Okay, Vega. Okay.
And that's out at Costco.
That's out of Costco. What is that? Is that a yogurt?
No, it's a smoothie drink. You add almond milk.
Okay. Here's what you guys got to know. Yogurt, smoothies, and things like that are not for gut health. They're made so that you can easily consume it. But don't eat yogurt for the probiotics. There's so little amounts of probiotics in there, it's almost non-existent. But it's sold to you like it is because they put a little bit in there and then they get movie stars to tell you, oh yeah, I got my gut health and it's good. No.
What about fermented foods like
Sauerkraut, kimchi, great.
Okay.
Great, those are great. Pickles, right? Yeah.
What about apple cider vinegar?
Apple cider vinegar should only be consumed periodically, no more than for about 2 weeks at a time, because apple cider vinegar helps with digestion. But for too long, it stresses out your liver, and you cannot detox. Okay? So apple cider vinegar, Bragg's Organics is the only one I trust on apple cider vinegar. See, most of our stomachs, when doctors tell you, oh, you have too much acid, it's the other way around. You have too little acid. You have too little. Here's how acid reflux actually happens. That's a whole nother class right there. But acid reflux is due to us consuming too much processed foods, too much medications, that eats away our stomach lining. So now any amount of acid irritates the stomach lining. It's like your stomach has a sore in there. So now you have a very thin stomach lining, right? Because you've been tearing it apart. So the little bit of stomach acid kills your stomach, and your esophagus opens up, try to expel it. So now you take antacid pills. Oh, let me lower the amount of acid. No. That's why you have digestive problems, because you take antacid pills. Now you don't have enough acid to digest your food. Oh, but it's not causing that esophagus problem. Fix the real reason why your stomach lining is having a problem. One of the things, supplements, licorice. Ooh, licorice.
Which one?
Not the one that, not the candy.
Or it's good for you?
Good.
Oh.
Yeah, not the ones that you buy from the store. You gotta buy the original licorice. You go to like a co-op in Davis, they'll have that. You walk in, oh, I need licorice. They'll show you. Okay? That cures the stomach lining. Who likes okra? Okra. Not fried, okay, boil please. All right? They're slimy, right? That heals the stomach lining. See? Okra. Yeah, all these little things. But we're told the wrong thing all the time. We got the wrong information. We're all trying to do the right thing, but we have all the wrong information.
You're spot on about that, because I've been battling with my doctors with my esophagus problems, and I do take apple cider vinegar Bragg's for that problem.
Mhm.
They say you add acid to acid, and it's not right.
No.
I'm saying, well, it works.
We all have too little acid.
If it's working for you,
Yeah, we all have too little acid. Too little. As we get older, yeah. See, they help with digestion. So it stops irritating the stomach. But don't take it for long, like I said.
Take
Only,
a break in between, is
Yeah.
that what you say, or?
only do it for 2 weeks in between and take like 2 weeks off. Okay? Because it stresses out the liver. Vinegar stresses out the liver. You don't want to stress out the liver. You need your liver. All right? Just a little, like a small, not like a whole cup, just like a, what do you got?
2 ounces?
Yeah. You know, like those medicine cups, like 1 to 2 ounces? Just like a small one. It's a shot glass. There you go. Yeah, like a shot.
you want to dilute it with water.
Yeah. Dilute it with some water. Don't take it straight. It'll burn your esophagus. Yeah, don't do that. Okay. So, avoid the sugars. Sugar spikes insulin. Who thinks wheat bread is better than white bread? Yeah, we've been told the whole wheat. We've been told the wrong thing. If you ever want to read a book on your downtime, read the book called Wheat Belly. Wheat Belly. Yeah, it was written by a medical doctor. Wheat will spike your sugars faster than white bread. It will spike it. It will spike it like nobody's business. You continue eating all those whole grain, wheat bread, and all that, thinking wheat was great for you. Oh, you're in for something.
Have you ever read The Grain Brain?
The grain brain, of
with
course.
Dr. Perlmutter?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. See? Grains, no good. Yeah.
What about sourdough?
No, bread in general. You just want to stay away from. Stay away from. Wheat is just one of the worst ones, you know? Yeah, that's just one of the worst.
Why is the
Mediterranean diet and how they eat, okay, is
They have bread.
they have some bread. Some bread. But you know what else they have? They have a lot of high healthy fats. A lot. Did you know that the Mediterranean diet, omega-3 to omega-6 ratio is 1:1? Okay, omega-6 and omega-3, we both need it. But when our diet have too much omega-6, we get inflammation. Do you know what the ratio is in the US? 25:1. 25:1. They're 1:1. So their healthiness counteracts some of that bread stuff. Their body's not that inflamed to begin with. See? And we think, oh, we pick out one thing that they eat, and we think that it's good for us. No, no, no. If you're going to follow the Mediterranean diet, follow the Mediterranean diet. Don't pick out and start picking at what they eat, right? So, good question. Yeah, good question. 1:1, omega-6 to omega-3. We're 25:1, and it's climbing. Okay? You got to limit the fruits, all right? Here's the good fruits that are lower in sugars, lower. If you want to look up a chart, you can go online, fruits with the lowest sugars, all right? The three lowest ones, raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries. The lowest ones. Now, that does not mean you go out and start consuming them and start eating a cup a day. You still limit that to maybe half a cup a day. And that's all the fruits you should have. You don't need a lot. You start following this over here, and you're in for high blood sugar. Okay? All right. Vegetables. You got to eat the deep color, darker, rich color vegetables. But for a lot of you who want to watch out for inflammation, you have to watch out for the nightshades. Nightshades are some of the vegetables that a lot of you might like tomatoes, like bell peppers, like potatoes, and eggplants. Those are nightshades. Nightshades, 1,000, 2,000 years ago, was used to poison people.
Oh my.
Okay, they were poisonous plants that has been genetically modified and bred to be consumable. But if you have neuropathy, diabetes, inflammation, arthritis, every time you eat that, it will increase the inflammation in your body. I pick them out myself personally. Okay, I do. All right, so vegetables. Stick with the non-starchy vegetables. Your kale, broccoli, zucchini, beets. You guys ever heard of a mineral called potassium? Yes. You guys ever heard of a salt? Salt, right? Yeah. Okay. Who thinks potassium is good for them?
In balance.
In balance. Yeah, that's a good, look at that. That's a good answer. Who thinks salt is good for them? Okay. In balance. Right. You need both. You know why? Because your heart has something called a sodium-potassium pump. Okay? You need sodium and potassium. How much do you need? Potassium, you need 4,700 milligrams a day. Salt, you need 2,400 milligrams a day in order for your body to function correctly. So people who used to cut out sodium because of high blood pressure problems end up with problems with their heart. Oh, I'm going to cut out as much salt as possible. Cut out all the salt. Their sodium-potassium pump stops working. And now they get atrial fibrillations, palpitations, tachycardia. Your heart's like, what in the world's going on? You cut out something that I need. Okay? Potassium is also one of the main key ingredients your liver needs to detox toxins out of your body. Need. Not like, oh, it's good to have. Need. And these vegetables have a lot of potassium. But who thinks bananas have a lot of potassium? Let me see some hands. Yeah. Yeah. Bananas, 100 grams of bananas, okay, a cup, right, usually, has about 130 to 150 grams of potassium, okay? Beets, the same amount of beets has over 300. You know what has the best potassium? The greens that is grown from the beets, 1,300. 10 times more than bananas. Who told you bananas had a lot of potassium? Dole plantation? The banana growers. Eat a banana, stop the cramp. The banana barely has any potassium. I didn't find out about this until a few years ago when we started our weight loss program in the office, and I realized how important potassium was to help the liver process fats. And I said, whoa, what? The banana, when you look at the potassium chart, banana is almost at the bottom. Okay, it's like the bottom quarter of the chart. Okay, beets and beet greens. All right, now if you eat a lot of beets, when you poop, it's going to be red. It's not because you have blood in your stool, it's because of the beets.
Is pickled beets, is that all right?
Pickled have higher concentration of salt, where if you don't have, salt in other things is okay, but natural's always better.
Okay.
Natural's always better. Just cut them up and eat it in a salad or throw them in something, okay?
Tell me again how much potassium a person needs.
Yes, potassium is 4,700 milligrams. Salt is 2,400, about half as much as potassium. Yes?
What if you're dealing with liver disease?
If you're dealing with liver disease, what do you mean?
Low sodium diet,
Okay.
no more than 2,000 milligrams.
So liver disease, it really depends on what liver disease it is. See? Yeah, so that you have to really watch out for the minerals that you intake. But you still have to have a good balance. You see, you can't cut it out.
Does the type of salt make a difference?
Oh, yes. Good question. Don't get table salt. Okay? You make sure if you use the salt, it's got to be sea salt or Himalayan pink salt. Yeah, any other salt is not high quality salt. Okay? Sea salt, all right? Or Himalayan pink salt.
You know, a lot of what you're describing, my sister lost 100 pounds because she was insulin resistant. She went on the keto diet. And she stuck with it. 20 grams of carbs until she got to lost 50 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of what you're saying is the keto, what I see her.
See, most people are very stuck on diets, like the keto diet, right? Or like the paleo diet, or like the South Beach diet, right?
Yeah.
What you have to do is, it's not so much a diet, is you got to eat healthy. And what they found in keto, there's so many versions of the keto diet that you got to watch out for. Because you got the clean keto, and you got the dirty keto. And then you got the keto that everyone talks about on Facebook, right? Because keto in general, when people talk about it, they think, oh, I just eat fats. I eat nothing else but high fat. And then you see people online eating tubs of butter. They put butter on everything. They put coconut oils on coffee, and that's all they eat. But what most people don't realize is you have to have vegetables that go along with the fats. You don't have vegetables that go along with the fat, how in the world are you going to digest all that fat? See? And then most people on the keto diet don't care for good fat or bad fat. They just do fat. Yeah.
Well, she was arthritic, and she had high blood pressure.
So she ate healthy.
And she lost.
And she lost weight. Of course.
And she came down to where she had no arthritis and no inflammation. No.
Yeah. See, that's a,
She was really strict.
right. See, food can ultimately change your body.
But the reason she did it was because because she was insulin resistant, and her daughter found out she was insulin resistant, told her mother. Then
Yeah.
the two daughters of her two granddaughters,
Yeah.
it's in the, it's.
Look
in
at
the
this.
side
What is
effect.
insulin resistance? Insulin resistance is poor health. Do you have a question?
I just was in comment on this keto
Uh-huh.
diet. A couple days ago, I had lunch with an old friend.
Yeah.
He was talking about his sister, and she had type 2 diabetes for
Yeah.
10, 15 years.
Yeah.
She went on the keto thing, and within a year,
Cleared it up?
it cleared it totally.
Because keto in general, if you do it healthy, in a healthy way, will help you overall. But what is keto? Keto is just a healthy way of eating, right? And then they just named it keto. They just named it, put a name to it, and it became a diet, right? Yeah. The ketones. Keto come from ketones.
Right.
Ketones increase, it's a byproduct of your body burning fat. Okay? But you can't just eat all fat. Because some people who do keto can only do it for a short amount of time. Because if they don't do it correctly, they end up with the keto flu, keto rash, and they end up with all kinds of other keto problems if they don't do it correctly. But if you did it correctly, now you're just eating healthy. The good fats, good vegetables, insulin resistance. Anyone who's pre-diabetic or diabetic goes through a long time of insulin resistance. Here's what insulin resistance is, and here's how it works. Okay? Your body produces insulin every time you eat. Okay? Your pancreas, when you eat, pumps out insulin. Doesn't matter if it's fat, sugar, but when there's sugar, it pumps out more insulin. Okay? Now, insulin's job is to take your sugar, hold on to it, and transport it into a muscle or a liver, okay, or the brain, and drop it off, right? Here's the problem. Insulin-resistant people, as your body consumes more of the junk foods and processed foods, your pancreas has to pump out more insulin to collect the sugars, right? Eventually, the insulin's gonna knock on a cell's door, and the cell is, I am so full of sugar, I can't take you anymore. So your cell becomes insulin resistant because the insulin cannot drop off a sugar. So now the insulin says, okay, I can't come into the muscle cells, I'm gonna just drop it off at the liver. Well, the liver then turns that sugar and stores it as energy. What's the way that it stores it as energy? Fat. It takes the fat now and it stores it in different places. But eventually it can't store anymore and the liver becomes fatty. Okay? Insulin resistance also becomes worse as your body tries to pump out more insulin, right? To try to lower blood sugar. Because when you have too much sugar in the blood, the body knows it's gonna kill you. It starts killing your blood vessels like in neuropathy. It kills your heart, it kills your lungs, your breathing stops, everything. So eventually what happens is when you continue to consume, your pancreas fails to pump out enough insulin, okay? So now your blood sugar starts to rise a little bit, right? By the time, I want you to know this, by the time your blood sugar rises just a little bit, your system has already failed. It is failing. Pre-diabetes is just a number that medical community put on there that says you're at the beginning of failure. Your body cannot sustain what it naturally should be. Diabetes is just once you cross the threshold, it's a number. Why is it that half of our patients with neuropathy is pre-diabetic and the other half is diabetic? It's because the body you don't have a number of when you're gonna get neuropathy. It's just when your body decides, you know what, it's too much. you end up with neuropathy, the tingling in the fingers and the hands and the burning sensation. But it's a failure of that system. That's where insulin resistance comes in. Now, how does eating healthy fix that? Automatically, your liver starts detoxing because you're giving it all the nutrients that it needs. Your body starts to burn more fat when you consume good fat, right? Instead of sugar, your body takes the fat, breaks it up, and then you have ketones, okay? You're supposed to utilize that ketones in the body as energy. But if you consume too much fat for too long, your body stops burning its own fat and it ends up keeps burning all the fat you put in. You see? That's why you can't just go all fat all the time for a long period of time. You got to add in a healthy diet. Clean keto is a healthy way of eating. That's all it is. You see? But our society likes to label it, right? We label it as a this diet, a that diet, right? You know? And that's why when people only stick with diets, 98% of diets fail within a year. Because most people just stick with, boom, I'm just going to eat that way, you know? Because if you look up the keto diet, and people who haven't really taken a dive and studied it, and they look at just, what is a keto diet? Oh, high fat. Oh, I have friends that do that. It's, oh, I'm just going to eat fat. Oh, what are you doing? Why are you putting, large of pieces of butter in your coffee? Oh, I learned about this bulletproof coffee thing. And then they don't do anything else. They don't eat the vegetables. They keep eating the fries. They think it's high fat, right? And then eventually they get sick. See? So don't get caught up too much in the diet necessarily. It's just a name. As much as you got to eat healthy. Because guess what? When was the last time you met someone who was healthy and really overweight? So as you get healthy, does it make sense that the weight starts to shed off? It does. Our weight loss program in the office don't focus on one diet or another. I focus on a healthy body. As your body becomes healthy, weight drops off. That's it. As simple as that. You see? Does that make sense? Yeah? Any questions about insulin resistance or how that works? Because I know I didn't have any slides on that, but that's a whole class in its own. Right? Did that kind of drive it home on what insulin resistance actually is? Yeah. Okay? French fries don't count as veggies. All right? Okay, so you see, yes and no, right? Okay, these are the vegetables. Right? What should I eat? Good fats. We just talked about the good fats. Pasture-raised meats, eggs, fats from pasture-raised animals, butter, grass-fed butter, ghee, fatty fish. I guess I was ahead of this slide. The seeds, the nuts, right? No peanuts. Especially avoid, if you have autoimmune problems, right? Who's ever heard of rheumatoid arthritis? Rheumatoid arthritis. That's an autoimmune. What is rheumatoid arthritis? You don't just automatically get it one day. Because your body is so inflamed, it started deteriorating all your joints. It got to the joints. Your muscles already ached for years, okay? Your legs were probably weakened by now, and now the body's like, well, she's not listening or he's not listening, let me eat away the joints. That's what rheumatoid arthritis is. Your body attacked itself.
Can it be healed?
Over time, you lower that inflammation, the rheumatoid arthritis all of a sudden starts getting better.
What about MS?
MS is partially genetics, okay, but it's also partially brought on by inflammation. That turns on the genes. See, we all have cancer genes in us. It's the study of epigenetics. We all have these genes that has diseases, but it's what we feed and what the environment does to our body that turns on these genes. If you guys want a good read, it's called Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton.
What is it called again?
Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. Okay? Epigenetics, right? Avoid these vegetable oils, the canola, the sunflower oils, the corn. One of them is the grape seeds. So you see, that's kind of like the middle, not too great, but it's, I just put that on there. And then soybean. Avoid that as well.
About safflower.
What's that?
Safflower oil.
Not as good. Yeah. Okay? Healthy fats. right? The grass-fed, wild-caught, game meat, low mercury. Oh, the fish, low mercury. The bigger the fish, the more mercury. Okay? That's a general rule. The longer living the fish that you're going to eat, the more mercury it has. We want to have lower mercury, start eating some more sardines instead. Okay? Smaller fish, shorter lifespan. The bigger the fish, the more time it has swimming around the ocean, the more time it has eating other fish, okay? It has more mercury. All right? That's a general rule. All right? Swordfish has some of the highest mercury. Swordfish in general. Okay? Avoid farm meats, fish. Tofu's okay, but not the best. All right? If you're going to have soy, you can eat the organic tofu, but it's not the best for you. Soy in general. Ladies, you have to watch out the soy. Soy bumps up your estrogen. Okay? Once you are in menopause, post-menopause, you already have a huge imbalance between estrogen and progesterone. Part of our program in our office is having some progesterone bumped up to help you out. But do not eat anything that's going to raise estrogen in the body. And soy is one of them.
You see soy and everything?
Oh, yeah, you do. You do. It's cheap. Soy and corn, cheapest things out there. Oh, yeah, cheapest things out there. It's cheap. That's why it's a good additive to bulk things up. Yeah. So, you see these impossible burgers or these fake burgers out there? Avoid them, please. Please avoid them. Yeah, you don't know what's in them. I don't know what's in them. I'm not going to eat them. Okay? You don't know what's in it, right? So, processed dairy, most people, 70% of our population is some intolerance to dairy. 70%. Okay? We don't know it. But what happens when you eat dairy and you get that tired, fatigue, I gotta take a nap? That means you're allergic to something that you just ate. Okay? Not because you ate too much. All right? The grass-fed butter, ghee, okay? We talked about the bones, the gluten, limit, okay, beans and legumes. Beans, they contain anti-nutrients that can cause the gut to damage and impair absorption and the minerals and vitamins. That's what beans and legumes do. What they do is they attach to your colon wall, and now you can't absorb some of the nutrients. So then, people who eat long-term beans end up being mineral and vitamin deficient. Because when you eat it with your meal, you can't absorb a lot of the other stuff.
I thought they were supposed to be high in protein or something. They're not?
Not exactly. They were only sold that idea to people who are vegetarians because there's not a lot of protein in anything else. If you're... What's that? Long-term bean? Long-term bean. I think I said if you ate beans for a long period of time, for long term, yeah, it will start causing. No, that's okay. Yeah. So, is it a bland diet that you have to stick with? Am I saying that? No. Seasonings and spices, different things you can use, right? Dressings that are infused with, olive oils and clean marinades, right? You have mayo that's made with avocado oil that you can use. Mayo, most mayo, it's dairy, right? Most of the mayo out there, Kraft mayonnaise, but there's ones made with avocado oil. Okay? There's different ones out there. This is why, these three next slides is the reason why I'm so passionate about it, because number one, insulin leads to diabetes. Diabetes, when you have diabetes or pre-diabetics, 70 to 80% of the time, you will have some form of neuropathy. My grandmother had this. That's where the last few years of her life, she was wheelchair bound, and eventually she has Alzheimer's. Okay? That's because her leaky gut turned into a leaky brain, and she ended up forgetting everybody. Within the last 2 years, they're calling Alzheimer's diabetes type 3. Look it up. Diabetes type 3 is Alzheimer's. Is when you don't have diabetes type 1, you might not have diabetes type 2, but if you get Alzheimer's, chances are you could have diabetes type 3. That's what diabetes type 3 is. Okay? But then it causes other problems now. Then there's inflammation, loss of joint space, right? Going up and down the stairs causing problems, right? Then the hip and socket joint becomes a problem as well. I mean, that's how, yeah. Regenerative medicine and stem cells nowadays can help with that. But why would you want to go through that in the first place if you can avoid it? You see? You see? I don't want to see people like this. We have things in our office that help people with problems like this, but I would rather, much rather, have you change on your own and let the body heal. But there are certain points where your body has gone too far, where you need extra help. But we can avoid as much as we can. Why not? Are we okay with that? Yeah. Then there's Alzheimer's. This is a normal brain, a fatty normal brain, full of fat. Okay, the brain is very fatty. This is a mild Alzheimer's brain, and you start to lose fat. All right? If you have Alzheimer's that runs in the family, please, please take omega-3s. Omega-3s that has a good balance, that has more of EPA and DHA. Okay, it has to be a combination. It can't just be one or the other. EPA and DHA. Some of them only have one or the other.
Is that like fish oil?
What's that?
Fish oil?
Fish oil.
DHEA or A?
EPA and DHA. Uh-huh. Okay?
My sister had.
Right.
Early onset.
You got to be really careful with what you take, though, because fish oil, that's another class. Uh-huh. Yeah. Though they've gotten, the pharmaceuticals and nutraceutical companies have gotten real smart with fish oil, too. There's a couple brands I really trust. One of them is Designs for Health. The other one is Nordic Naturals.
What is that?
Nordic Naturals.
Actually, my ophthalmologist recommended a Nordic.
There you go. It's one of the best ones. Krill oil is not as absorbable a lot of times as fish oil. Krill oil was a fad for a while. It was good for a while, you know, but not as good. It does not hold the long term of the fish oil. So, I've got some quiz here for you guys. So what we'll do is we'll split the room down the middle over here. So you're in the purple, you'll be part of this room, right? And you'll be part of that side, all right? Those who get the answers, everyone in that group will get extra raffle tickets, and I'll tell you what the raffle tickets are for. For better health, do you eat this side first? Do you eat lighter or deeper fruits and vegetables? Deeper. Deeper. Very good. Okay. Can I have a volunteer that can help me from that side? Can I have a volunteer from over here? Yes? If you can tear up and give everyone on your group a raffle ticket, right? And then take the one that says keep yours as a coupon, right? Each person gets one, okay? For this side, let food be thy medicine. Very good. Who can volunteer from this side and help out? Yeah? You make sure everyone gets an extra one, okay? So that's one each for everyone in the room. Next. Unhealthy, this side, unhealthy oils contributes to what disease? A. What's A?
The clogging of the
No.
arteries.
No.
No?
Alzheimer's and heart disease. Good. Good, good, good. All right, so an extra ticket. Back to here. She's on this side, yeah. This side now. So no, 2 tickets for them. If you guys can answer it, then 2 tickets. Processed sugars. Huh? Oh, diabetes and neuropathy, yes. Okay, good. This is for everyone. If you guys can answer this next question, everyone gets an extra one. So potentially everyone can get 3 extras. What are the 4 must-dos I told you to do? Give me the one. Start going. Avoid sugar.
Processed.
Dairy. Gluten. And Already said that. Bad oils. That's it. Bad oils. Those are the 4. So everyone gets an extra 3, okay? And then the ones that we keep, we'll put it in this box. And then Diane will help us pull the raffle after. All right. So the 4 must-dos, please do them.